What is up, everybody? This is Lyle, No Hippie Trucking and Transportation. I am coming at you from the Maverick on I-84, exit 362, out here near Corinne, Utah. If you happen to be delivering at that Walmart down the road, skip that Love's down there. Love's is like a 40-degree day. Ain't nobody got nothing to say about a 40-degree day. Come in here, get some good stuff to eat, some clean restrooms. If you have to take a shower, maybe hit the Love's, but definitely prefer this. Now, yesterday I had said that I was at a Love's down in Burns, Wyoming. I was actually at a TA, not a Love's. And speaking about TAs, before I get into what I'm going to be talking about in this video, I did stop at a TA in Rawlins, Wyoming, and got some coffee this morning. TA is definitely stepping their game up. So I don't know if they're, because I saw like they had like a coffee grinder. It wasn't one where you make your own coffee, but I think they're actually grinding their own coffee right now. So this is the third time I've stopped at a TA and had some better than average coffee. It was the 100% Colombian I got. And I'm saying better than average by TA standards, you know. So yeah, that's about it. Last night, I left at about 10 o'clock, 10 p.m., somewhere in there. Drive wasn't that bad, but as I was entering that TA that I got the coffee at, you really couldn't see that ice on the off-ramp, and that kind of caught me by surprise. There was so much ice there, I was like, I almost had to stop, collaborate, and listen. Because, yeah, that was a little bit more than I expected. But wanted to talk about today's driver meeting that Prime had. They had a couple things that they spoke about that I thought were kind of worth mentioning. Some advice I might give. And so let's kind of dig into that. All right, so first of all, they're talking about people getting violations for not having a paper logbook. If you're in training, and it's one thing that I preached on when I had my trainees on the truck, is have a paper logbook. Now, I keep a paper logbook in with my permit book, so no matter who got pulled over, there was going to be a permit or a logbook there. So that's just a stupid violation right there. Make sure you have paper logbooks. One thing that is a recent thing, and I don't know what's happening, but it was brought up in the meeting, was a failure to upload load information. Now, this has been something that's just been happening like in the last 6 to 8 months, where it's not fully populating the load into your load information. A lot of times it's only the trailer that's not getting loaded, and maybe sometimes the trip might not be, but double check that, update that load information, put that in there, because people are getting violations for that. And I can see how that's happening because it was something that we didn't have to worry about until recently. So definitely check your load information. I just got in the habit where I'm just putting in my trailer in there before I even make the live load call and all that. So that was brought up in the meeting. I thought that was a good thing to bring up because I'd actually spoke with my logs advisor about that. I can remember exactly where I was. I was in Chesapeake, Virginia when we had that conversation. Also, people are getting violations for failure to meet the requirements of a split brake. Now, a lot of people that watch this channel know that I'm all about, splitting my clock. I never really do a complete split. And when I say I don't complete a split, that doesn't mean that I don't meet the requirements. It means I'm only buying time personally when I split my log. Normally, I'm not trying to split it for, 7 or 2 and then get the 7 or 8 or whatever afterwards. I'm normally taking a full break after that. But people are getting violations for not meeting the requirements for their split break, and that just comes down to education right there. Also, people are still getting violations for PC use, using PC just because their clock runs out. Now, we spoke about this on my channel a while back. The cover-up is worse than the crime. If you're going to have to choose one or the other, you know, because I'm going to be the guy, the load's going to get there. Now, I've never had to violate my clock to get somewhere, but the load's going to get there. So if it's going to get there, I'm going to violate my clock and then come up with, put some notes in there, something like that, to maybe try to lessen the punishment if I get pulled over. But don't just go to PC because you run out of hours. Cover up is worse than the crime. Now, what this all leads me to want to talk about is something that Prime should be doing, is educating drivers more. Now, we already get 14,000 stupid ass messages a day. How about once a week, the head of logs department or something like that comes out with a tip? You know, it could be anything. I mean, just a short 2 or 3 sentence, how to split your clock, or a reminder of this, a reminder of that. A lot of companies do that, where once a week they send out like a tip or something like that once a week. Maybe a reminder, hey, just because you just dropped off your load at Walmart and you're going on home time, you can't go directly to personal conveyance to go home. There needs to be, they're calling that a continuation of the load, and I think a lot of people don't understand that. So if they just put out little tips that people could learn from once a week, that would be great. Should have started it a couple years ago. Another thing they brought up was relationships with fleet managers, logs, etc. You know, that's something I've been preaching for forever. Is having a relationship with the people that you surround yourself with in the company. And that's for a number of different reasons. You always have people that are complaining, at a mega carrier, you're just a number. You're not a name. You know what? That's because you put yourself in that position. Have a relationship with people you surround yourself with. Fleet managers, logs, payroll. One person that I could probably develop a better relationship with would be road assist, but I don't really deal with them that much to have that be something that I really focus on. And yeah, well, actually, yeah, my knuckles are kind of ashy, but you know, they had a representative from Nature Ripe that showed up at the meeting this morning, and he just spoke about a few things. Nature Ripe is one client that I could say that I've never, like, I don't have anything bad to say about him. I've never had a bad loading experience. I've never been having to deal with a bunch of mud. You know, it's just very consistent, and they pay pretty well, things like that. So he spoke about some things. He was talking about the weather that hit California recently, and a lot of crops got destroyed. So a lot of the produce you might have got from Nature Ripe at the beginning of the produce season might be a little bit, might not be as much as what is typical. But always happy to see a Nature Ripe load, so it's good to see them there. They also spoke about the driver advisory board. Now, hopefully they're actually doing, I don't know what the driver advisory board does. You know, some of the stuff that I've heard, and it's not the driver advisory board's fault, but some of the shit that people bring to the driver advisory board is so fucking stupid. I can't even believe it. And I don't know if somebody brought up a ping pong table. You know what? That's not the driver advisory board problem, but an issue. But hopefully people are bringing like real shit to the driver advisory board. So that meeting is going to be happening, I believe, on Monday. And the last thing I want to talk about, Rob Lowe got up there, spoke about Prime culture. Culture is something that he believes in. Could it be better? He said yes. One thing I'm going to say is I think that the Prime culture is one of the best things about Prime. In saying that, I will honestly say I think it's deteriorated over the last maybe 2 years. And maybe that's just because my perception of it. It could be that as I learn more about my job, then I'm less focused on the job and more focused on the culture. But it's not the Prime culture at Prime that I'm seeing is the issue. It's mainly on social media. And I think that might be something that's happening a little bit more than it did when I first came to Prime. And maybe it's the same, but I'm looking at it more because I'm not as stressed out about the job or something like that. But for you new guys that are coming through, I would almost say I can't say don't follow social media, because I follow social media and you can learn from it, but don't become a victim of the stuff that you see in social media. I would say that if I'm looking at, in some groups are worse than others, but if I'm looking at the posts, I would say that maybe 30% of the posts are just downright negative. Maybe 20% are just unnecessary or stupid. And then you're left with maybe 35-40% that's actually useful, and then maybe 8 to 10% other or something like that. Do not fall into this negative bullshit that you see on Facebook, stuff like that. I honestly believe that you are what you think, and you surround yourself with a bunch of fucking idiots, and you're gonna be a fucking idiot. So I've seen that deteriorate over the last maybe couple of years. And like I said, here's a good example. So let's say that we're just gonna take one Prime Facebook group. Let's say they have 100 members. Of those 100 members, maybe 60% of them are just there kind of reading through it. You know, then you have 20% that are going there posting stuff that they find informative or they need information on. The other 20% is just there for fucking drama and posting stupid shit and, you know, just whatever. Those 20% actually affect more than the entire 80% of the people that are there trying to get something positive out of that experience. So that's one thing I can see, and maybe I'm just noticing it more because I have added a couple of Prime Facebook groups, but you know, they're worried about being censored. I mean, it's just, it's almost juvenile, to be honest with you, some of these people, but whatever. The last thing I'm gonna say is, you know what, you are Prime's culture. And that's one thing that I always try to remind myself of, is that when people see me, whether it's, you know, people have called me or I'm texting somebody, I try to represent that culture. If I'm at a terminal, you know, I can remember, you know, if somebody has something to say, I'm actually like trying to take time to like be invested in that interaction. If somebody wants to know where something is, you know, I'm not just going to be trying to be like, you know what, go down here and do this, do that. I might walk them down there. I think if everybody looked at things like that, and I'm not by any means trying to say I'm perfect, but I am aware that somebody's perspective on Prime could be based solely on me. It could be based on a negative video I do. It could be based on me interacting with them at a customer. It could be a bunch of different things. And I think that, you know, back to this Facebook situation, and some of these guys are just going to be what they are. But for new guys coming in, I think that you can learn a lot of bad behaviors of it. And I don't think a lot of it's malicious. I think some people think they're fucking comedians, but they're just negatively stupid when it comes down to it. And I would just hope that that doesn't rub off on some of you new guys that are thinking about coming to Prime. Anyway, that is about all I want to say about that. That was my summation of the Prime weekly safety meeting. I do appreciate you guys stopping by. No Hippie Trucking and Transportation. Comment, subscribe, and I'm out.